based on John 19, 1-42. The greatest sacrifice. Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him. The soldiers put a crown of thorns on his head. Then they put on him a purple robe and said, "Hail, the King of the Jews!" And they smote him with their hands. Then Pilate went forth again and said, "Behold, I bring him forth to you, that I find no fault in him. Behold the man." "Crucify him, said the chief priests. "Take him and crucify him yourself, for I find no fault in him. We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, for he made himself the Son of God." When Pilate heard this, he was more afraid. Pilate went again into the judgment hall with Jesus and said, "Whence art thou?" But Jesus gave no answer. Pilate said, "Speak not to me. I can release you." Jesus said, "The only power you have was given to you from above. They that delivered me to you has the greater sin." At this point, Pilate sought to release him. The Jews cried out, "If you let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whoever makes himself a king speaks against Caesar." And it was a preparation to Passover, and about the 6th hour he said to the Jews, "Behold, your king." Again they cried out, "Away with him! Crucify him!" Pilate said, "You want me to crucify your king? We have no king but Caesar. I wash my hands of this." Then they took Jesus away to be crucified, bearing his cross. Jesus went to a place called the Place of Skull, where they crucified him and 2 others, Jesus in the middle. Pilate wrote a title, and it said, "King of the Jews." This title then read by many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city, and was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Then said the chief priest to Pilate, "Write not the King of the Jews." But he said he was the King of the Jews. "What I have written, I have written." Then when they crucified Jesus, the soldiers took his garments and made 4 parts to every soldier, but his coat was without a seam. They said, "Let's not rend it. Let's cast lots to see whose it shall be." And they did cast lots. Now standing there by the cross of Jesus was his mother's sister, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother, he said, "Woman, behold thy son," and "Disciple, behold thy mother." After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, he says, "I thirst." They fill a sponge with vinegar and put on a hyssop and put it to his mouth. When Jesus received the vinegar, he said, "It is finished," and gave up the ghost. For the preparation, the bodies should not remain on the cross on the Sabbath day. So they asked Pilate for their legs to be broken and for them to be removed and taken away. Then the soldiers came and broke the legs of first, and the other that was with Jesus. When they got at Jesus, they saw he was already dead. They brake not his legs. One of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and blood and water came out. And he that saw it bare record, and his record be true, that you might believe. For these things were done, so the scripture will be fulfilled. A bone of him shall not be broken. After this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, secretly for fear of what the Jews would do with Jesus' body, besought Pilate that he might take the body. So Pilate gave him leave to do so. So he came and took the body of Jesus. And there came Nicodemus, which first came to Jesus by night, brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, Then they took Jesus' body and wound it with linen clothes and spices. This was a manner of the Jews to bury the dead. Now, in the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in that garden a new sepulchre where no one yet was laid. There they laid the body of Jesus. For the Jews' preparation day for the sepulchre was nigh at hand, to save our souls. This truly was the greatest sacrifice. The end.